That's not a vehicle, Mr. Miller. That's a violation. That's how my retirement started, with a woman in a flamingo pink tracksuit telling a retired Marine that his own driveway wasn't his driveway. I had owned that RV for exactly 47 minutes before it disappeared. I walked outside with a fresh cup of coffee, ready to admire the wandering star, our 40-foot Tiffin Allegro bus, gleaming like a promise finally kept, and all I saw was an oil stain and tire marks heading down the street like somebody had stolen Christmas. And then I heard her voice. Sweet, smug, dripping with HOA authority. Karen Becker stood on my lawn like she was inspecting conquered territory, clipboard tucked against her chest, blonde hair shellacked into place, lips pursed in a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Section 7, subsection B, she recited, tapping her clipboard. Recreational vehicles must be stored out of sight. This is a covenanted community. Covenanted. Like we'd signed a treaty with suburban royalty. You had my RV towed, I said, calm, steady, the kind of quiet that used to make young Marines straighten their backs. She smiled tighter. It lowers property values. Now let me tell you something. That RV wasn't just a vehicle. It was 30 years in uniform. It was birthdays missed, deserts crossed, promises made in whispered phone calls from halfway across the world. Sarah and I had named it the Wandering Star because one day, we were going to wander under open skies without orders, without deployments, just us. And this woman had it hauled off my driveway while I was making coffee. That was the moment the war began. Not a loud war. Not shouting. Not threats. A cold one. You learn something in the Marines. Anger burns fast. Strategy freezes slow. So I went inside, sat at my desk, pulled out the stack of HOA paperwork we'd signed a year earlier, and started reading. Every clause. Every line. 5 straight hours of legalese thick enough to choke a horse. Section 7, subsection B, sure enough, RVs prohibited. But Section 2, that was interesting. Section 2 defined HOA jurisdiction, and it referenced the official county plat map. Now, if you've never stared at a property plat map under fluorescent courthouse lighting, let me tell you, that's where wars are won. Next morning I'm at the county clerk's office with a bored but helpful woman named Linda who showed me how to pull the 1988 plat for Oak Meadows. And there it was, a dotted line. Thin, easy to miss. It cut across the front third of my lot. Everything behind it, HOA territory. Everything in front of it, including 10 feet of my driveway stretching to the street, county easement land. Outside HOA jurisdiction. Karen hadn't enforced a rule. She had ordered a $400,000 vehicle removed from land she didn't control. That wasn't a violation. That was theft. I bought 3 certified copies of that plat map and walked into the sunshine feeling something shift inside me. Not rage. Clarity. But here's the twist. This wasn't just about me. I started knocking on doors. Mr. Henderson across the street, quiet, meticulous gardener, had been fined $25 because his hose was lime green. His late wife had bought it for him before she passed. Karen said it disrupted the visual harmony. He paid it. The Garcias down the block. $200 because their kid's plastic slide peaked over a 6-foot fence. And then there was Dave. Former Army captain. Afghanistan vet. Built a basketball hoop for his boys. Karen fined him $500 for an unauthorized structure. Escalated the fines. Threatened a lien. With a baby on the way, he caved. She broke me, he said, staring at his driveway like something sacred had been torn out of it. That's when I unrolled the plat map on his hood. She made a mistake, I told him. And his face lit up like someone handed him back his spine. Turns out tyrants thrive on isolation. People think they're alone. That fighting back isn't worth it. But when you connect the dots, literally, things change. I sent certified letters. Demanded records. Cited state law. Asked the tow company for their work order. Karen's lawyer fired back with a cease and desist. Tried to bill me $850 for the privilege of threatening me. That was mistake number 2. Because the tow company owner, Stan, called me panicking after his own lawyer read my letter. He agreed to waive fees and signed a sworn affidavit confirming Karen ordered the tow, knowing exactly where the RV was parked. Now I had a map, a paper trail, and a witness. Enter the unexpected ally, Ben Carter. Former JAG officer. Ran a nonprofit called Vets for Justice. Sharp suit. Sharper mind. He looked at my binder like it was a Christmas present. Gunny, he said, grinning, this is art. He drafted one final demand, return the RV, reimburse damages, public apology, 72 hours. Karen doubled down. So Ben changed the battlefield. Stop thinking civil, he told me. Think criminal. The next morning I walked into the sheriff's office and asked for auto theft. Detective Mike Rohr, big guy, coffee-stained tie, looked tired of the world, listened while I laid out the binder piece by piece. He stared at the plat map, then at the tow order. So she hired a company to take a vehicle from land she doesn't control and refuses to return it? Yes, sir. He leaned back. Well, I'll be damned. An hour later, I was riding shotgun in his unmarked sedan to the impound yard. Stan nearly fainted when he saw the badge. 5 minutes later, the gates opened. I climbed into the Wandering Star. Turned the key. That diesel engine roared like freedom. But we weren't done. We drove straight to Karen's house. Picture it, an unmarked police car followed by a 40-foot motorhome, rolling through manicured suburbia like a parade of karma. Neighbors came out. Mr. Henderson dropped his trowel. Dave stood on his porch grinning like Christmas came early. I parked directly in front of Karen's roses. She opened the door before we knocked. The look on her face, I'll never forget it. Authority draining in real time. Detective Rohr kept it simple. Ma'am, you ordered the removal of a $400,000 vehicle from property outside your jurisdiction. That's grand theft. The word arrest hung there. She shrank. He didn't cuff her, not that day. But he warned her. Criminal investigation pending. No contact. DA would follow up. And right there, on her own doorstep, Ben's civil suit papers were served. 2 fronts. One afternoon. The tyrant cracked. But here's the real turning point. It wasn't that moment. It was the barbecue. See, once people saw her shaken, fear turned to courage. Dave organized. Mr. Henderson audited the HOA finances. Turns out thousands had gone to a landscaping consultant, owned by Karen's brother-in-law. Legal fees ballooned every time someone questioned her. We gathered 94 signatures to force a recall vote. At the special meeting, the room overflowed. Karen tried to invalidate the petition. Ben shut that down in 30 seconds flat. She gave a speech about sacrifice and property values. No one clapped. When it was my turn, I didn't yell. I just held up the plat map. This, I said, is about respect. For the law. For boundaries. For each other. Then Mr. Henderson presented the financials. Silence. Ballots counted. 112-8. She was out. Dave elected to the board. Mr. Henderson became president. Lime green hose proudly coiled at his feet. The HOA's lawyer got fired. The petty rules got scrapped. My legal fees reimbursed. Karen eventually pled down to a misdemeanor and paid a fine. Criminal charges reduced, but the stain stuck. A few months later, her house went up for sale. And on a crisp fall morning, Sarah and I finally pulled the Wandering Star out of that driveway. Neighbors lined the street. The Garcia kids waved beside their once illegal slide. Dave saluted. Mr. Henderson gave us a thumbs up. And as we rolled out of Oak Meadows, I realized something. This wasn't about an RV. It was about power. Power unchecked doesn't start big, it starts small. A hose color. A basketball hoop. A line in the sand. Most people don't fight because it feels exhausting. Because the system seems too big. Because peace is easier. But sometimes peace is just surrender wearing comfortable shoes. And the truth is, bullies count on that. They count on you deciding it's not worth it. Now here's the question that still rattles around in my head. If Karen had backed down quietly and returned the RV before law enforcement got involved, would justice have been served? Or would she just have found a new way to push someone else around? Where's the line between enforcing standards and abusing authority? And how far would you go to defend what's yours? I'd love to hear your take. Have you ever dealt with an HOA nightmare, or someone who mistook a little authority for a crown? Drop your story in the comments. Tell me where you're watching from. Let's talk about what real community looks like, and where the line should be drawn. Because sometimes the biggest battles aren't fought overseas. Sometimes they're fought in your own driveway.